Some of you guys are gonna find this video very annoying because no doubt you've heard me say a lot of these things like 100+ times if you've been watching my videos, but I am telling you, if you are not doing these things, then you will not be achieving your weight loss or wellness goals. And you especially won't be achieving them in a way that's long lasting. These really are core things that must be included if you're looking to achieve a lasting body recomposition and weight loss goal. This is what I personally followed during my postpartum weight loss journey. And especially when you do these things repeatedly, that's when you really start to see the results. So sorry to annoy some of you, but this is really important, so let's dive into it. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Kettle and Fire. More on them in a bit. Okay, the first thing that really is a must is that you need to be avoiding the ultra processed fats and carbs, especially when they're combined. These foods have been studied as literally being addictive. We actually have known hormones within our body that turn on satiety, help prevent hunger, help prevent sugar cravings, and make achieving a weight loss goal so much easier when we actually tap into them. The thing about these ultra processed carbs and fats is that it bypasses this whole system. This is why just eating less while still including these ultra processed carbs and fats does not work, because you're still spiking this addictive spiral. So the first major step in any weight loss and body recomposition journey, especially if you actually want to make it easier and achieve lasting results, is to be getting rid of at least most of these ultra processed carbs and fats. They're going to be things like cereals in general, candy bars, energy bars, added sugars in drinks like sodas and coffees and energy drinks, most breads, although there are some caveats here, and most baked goods. Those are some of the ultra processed carbohydrates, but there's also the ultra processed fats, which primarily includes the seed oils. This can be harder to find on its own because it's usually added into foods that already also contain the ultra processed carbohydrates, or you'll see it in fried foods. That's a really common one, and a lot of the baked goods. So inherently, by avoiding the ultra processed carbohydrates, you're pretty much eliminating the ultra processed fats as well. And honestly, in my opinion, the easiest way to go about this first step is to stick to medium to low glycemic load foods. That way you're just eliminating all of those ultra processed carbohydrates anyway. These foods are also going to be much more nutrient dense, so it'll make you feel better, actually provide the nutrients your body needs, be much more satiating and satisfying. I had a whole video where I talk about this. I'll have it linked right up here if you want to check that out. Okay, the second thing is to eat at home. Now, I don't talk about this one as often, or at least explicitly talk about this one as often. I will very frequently allude to that by sharing a lot of really simple recipes that you can make at home, but I also do share tips on how you can go out to eat, out to a restaurant, or if your job or lifestyle requires going out to eat quite a bit, how you can make those healthier choices to support your goals while on the go. But there is just a lot of research showing that the more often you eat at home, the less likely you are to gain weight. One of the reasons could be because when you eat out, you are going to often find these ultra processed carbs and fats. In fact, especially the ultra processed fats are something that you pretty much primarily see when you go out to eat. So then we just fall into the issue of the first step, which is where we are eating a lot of these more addictive foods. And I think a lot of people who don't enjoy cooking hate this step because they think it means they're going to be spending so much time in the kitchen, which really is not the case at all. I mean, yes, I like to cook. I like to make really simple meals. That's what all of my recipes I share in my programs on my YouTube channel are around. I do believe in eating delicious foods that support your goals, but also making sure that it is simple to prepare and realistic. But honestly, there's a lot of things that you can prep at home without really ever needing to even turn on your oven. In fact, 2 of the meals I make every single day usually require no heat at all and take like minutes to prep. You guys have seen me make cottage cheese bowls, Greek yogurt bowls, tuna salad, which is a very common one when I'm in a hurry, and of course smoothies, which I make all the time. But there's even things that you can buy now that just make cooking a lot easier when you actually go to cook. So for example, you can buy pre-riced frozen cauliflower, which takes 6 minutes to prepare, or you can buy things like rotisserie chicken or pre-made grilled salmon. So even though you aren't making these at home, you're still preparing the meal at home, which gives you back a lot more control. Another thing I love about actually cooking at home is you can use ingredients that better fit your dietary preferences or your goals. For example, I'll use high quality bone broth in sauces or soups or stews to add in collagen, which I've found to be a really great tool to help prevent hunger and cravings. But making homemade bone broth, although not difficult, can be really time consuming, especially when you want to do it the right way, which is why I love today's sponsor, Kettle and Fire. Kettle and Fire is a high quality bone broth company, and they slowly simmer bones from grass-fed cows to make sure that they're pulling out as much collagen as possible. Now, I am a new mom. I do like to cook and I do know how to make bone broth, but honestly, I'm not always prepared to make bone broth for the week. I would say about 9.9 out of 10 times I'm not. So having Kettle and Fire in my pantry makes adding bone broth and a great source of whole food collagen into my meals so much easier. I also love that Kettle on Fire comes in a ton of different flavors, so you can match it depending on whatever meal you're having. But realistically, my go-to is going to be their original chicken or beef bone broth. I use those for a lot of different things. I add it into my soups, my stews, my chilies, or like I mentioned earlier, I'll pour it into sauces that maybe call for water instead to help sneak in collagen into my meals that wouldn't normally have it. And Kettle on Fire is super generous, and they're offering my community 20% off their bone broths when you use code AUTUMNBAITS at checkout. To make sure you stock up, I'll have the link down in the description below so you don't miss out. Okay, the third thing that is so important is to eat significantly more protein and from high quality sources. Adding in adequate and more high quality protein is one of the single-handedly easiest things you can do to help you achieve your goal, or at least making achieving your goal so much easier. Because when you eat high quality protein and when you eat enough of it, it signals your body to release a hormone called peptide YY, which tells your brain you're full, you're satisfied, and you don't need to eat. In fact, this tip alone is so strong that it actually can sometimes confuse people into thinking that they aren't going to be achieving their goals because they feel so satisfied. A lot of people are used to having to feel hungry in order to achieve their goals, which unfortunately is the result of just not adding in enough protein. But when you add in more protein, it makes you feel so much more satisfied, helps prevent sugar cravings, helps prevent hunger, which again just makes it so much easier to achieve those goals. And on top of that, protein helps to prevent muscle loss during the weight loss process, which means that it helps to prevent the slowing of the metabolism as well. So you don't have to keep eating less and less and less in order to achieve your weight loss goals. Now I wanted to show you guys how easy this is to be eating more protein. So I have a few options that I always keep in my pantry and fridge, because ideally for most people, we're looking at 30 grams of complete protein per meal, assuming that you're eating 3 meals per day. Some people need a lot more. It really depends on your goals and your body type. And this can be a lot if you aren't looking at the right types of protein sources. So I want to show you a couple really easy ones that you can include. One is canned tuna. I use the brand called Safe Catch because it is a low mercury brand. And you can see that one can here has 43 grams of complete protein. It also takes a long time to go bad, so I always keep at least 4 to 5 cans in my pantry. So I have them if I'm in a pinch and I didn't prepare something, I can have a can of tuna, make tuna salad or something along those lines. Okay, another great option would be having a high quality protein powder. I have my 0 sugar protein powder made from whey isolate, which is the lowest lactose form of whey. I'll add a scoop or 2 scoops into my smoothies, into Greek yogurt to help bump up the overall protein content. Plus it just makes adding in more protein taste very good. I'll make protein waffles for the entire week, and that way I just have to pop them in the toaster right before I'm ready to eat it. Again, very fast and easy. I like to combine whole food sources of protein with my protein powder, so it'll either be like a Greek or skyr yogurt or eggs or cottage cheese. Those are some of my go-tos that I'll combine so that I can bump up the overall protein content, make sure I'm getting the amount I need to help prevent hunger and muscle loss. Okay, and then for my fridge, I have 2 other go-to really high protein options, cottage cheese and skyr. Skyr is similar to Greek yogurt, but it's even higher in protein, and you get great sources of natural probiotics in here. So I will usually combine the skyr with my protein powder to easily get 30 or more grams of complete protein. Same thing with cottage cheese. This is a common lunch of mine. So having half of one of these containers has about 28 grams of complete protein, making me pretty much almost there at that whole 30 grams at one meal. So having canned tuna, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, my protein powder, I always have some type of either fairly shelf stable or fairly fridge stable form of high quality protein that I can easily eat. Okay, the fourth thing you've heard me say a million times, stick to meals, stop snacking. If you're actually eating enough protein at each of your 3 meals, you really shouldn't even feel hungry enough to snack in between the meals. Now, this can vary depending on the person. Like if you are really active and if you are looking for a specific high muscle mass goal, then you might need to have some type of snack purely because you are so active and have a lot of muscle recovery needed. But for most people looking for a body recomposition goal while also decreasing body fat, 3 meals, no snacks, assuming that the meals are actually high quality and have enough protein, is a much better alternative. And that's because if you are feeling hungry between meals, then you probably just simply did not get enough protein at each of your meals to feel satisfied. So already you're probably eating too little protein to support that body recomposition goal. But then as a result, you're replacing that high quality protein that you missed and adding in poor quality snacks. Very likely, because snack foods are inherently just not very high quality foods. They aren't intended to be foods that make you feel full and satisfied. Instead, it's usually going to be some type of refined carbohydrate, have some type of sugar. So think of things like crackers, pretzels, granola bars. Even protein bars often have just a lot of sugar in there and not really enough protein to make it satisfactory, which ultimately is not going to be in line with the body recomposition goal. So what I like to do is take hunger between meals as a sign that I need to up the amount of protein or maybe some other source of fat or fiber at that meal to help me get to the next meal. And if there is a time that I accidentally undereat on protein or I just don't get enough food at my last meal, I make sure that the snack food I do have is at least going to be a protein rich option. So I might make like my protein hot chocolate, which I've shared a recipe in the past. I'll link it right up here. It is so good. Or I'll have beef jerky, some hard-boiled eggs, some cottage cheese, something that is going to have a good source of high quality protein that I probably missed out at my last meal. Oh, and cheese. I will sometimes have cheese. Okay, the fifth thing you've heard me say probably a million times at this point is to have water and skip the sweetened drinks. Now this includes sweetened tea, sweetened coffee, and sodas, which if you are doing the first step that I mentioned in this video, you won't be having these. But I feel like sometimes these get a blind eye or we forget about them. I mean, just look at common energy drinks. For one serving, it has about 63 grams of sugar. That is so much sugar. That's nearly a third of a cup of sugar. Or a lot of these fancy Starbucks drinks, especially the seasonal ones, that's when they really get you, will have 40 or 50, sometimes 60 grams of added sugar. And if you think you're doing yourself a positive service by choosing the diet soda options, that might not be the case. Because most diet sodas use artificial sweeteners, there's a lot of debate on how it actually impacts weight loss goals. Some studies say that it is helpful, others say that it disrupts the gut microbiome, which can impact our blood sugar levels and even cause us to crave more and more sugar, which obviously works against the goal. And just doesn't feel great. Like, it doesn't feel good to constantly be fighting sugar cravings. So instead of soda, instead of diet soda, instead of these sweetened coffee drinks, sticking to water, sparkling water, regular coffee, regular tea, maybe adding in something like half and half or heavy cream or nut pods. Just don't add sugar. That can really lead to an easy addictive spiral. Now, having adequate protein is one of the most important things for actually achieving a long-lasting weight loss goal. So if you aren't sure what high quality proteins are or what your options are, make sure you check out this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.